like none of it.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yep. So his is a much more standard version, although he's got 2 Master of Ethereum in his list, as well as 4 Galvanic Blast. Does Kevin Green?
Modern style.
Modern style. Yep.
Other than that, you got this pretty standard Legacy Affinity cards: Arcbound Ravager, Etch Champion.
He has 4 main deck Phyrexian Revoker, which will be real good against Boaz. It'll be able to shut off his engineered explosives.
Underway, Boaz, for the first time on camera, not playing Eternal Mox Diamond, but maybe that's because he only had 6 cards.
Fair enough. Kevin's going to lead with Vault of Whispers. Boaz probably knows what Kevin's on. The jig is up at that point. Ornithopter Signal Pest is going to be Kevin's opener. Not the quickest opener ever, but...
So the great thing about playing a bunch of these kind of do-nothing cards and do-nothing creatures in Affinity is that when your opponent plays Liliana the Veil, it's not very effective.
That's right.
But Boaz did draw an Abrupt Decay.
Yep, pretty much the best thing he could have drawn there, I would imagine.
It's up there.
Thoughtcast from Kevin.
Thoughtcast resolves, and Thoughtcast is probably one of the better cards in these Affinity decks.
Yes.
They want to get a critical mass of cards, and Thoughtcast is unparalleled in its ability. It's raw card drawing for the mana. 1 mana, 2 cards.
Yep.
Can't really beat that. Downside is you have to play a bunch of Ornithopters.
Right. It's probably the second best. I would say it's the second best card draw engine, really, in Legacy, or third best after Goblin Ringleader and Jace the Mind Sculptor. For the rate at which you get the cards, and Jace does make an appearance in Boaz's hand.
Speak of the devil. So this Liliana would actually make if he did the -2 ability, it would actually protect itself.
That's right.
However,
it is going to do the -2 ability.
To do that.
Kevin is
first time I've seen. I believe it's the first time. What was it? He was in.
What was he up against the last time?
Goblins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he only +1'd it.
Wow.
He had, to be fair, he had quite much more in the way of blockers.
Sure.
In the Mishra's Factory. But yeah, he just kept plussing it, getting out of range, making his Goblin's opponent discard cards.
Etch Champion for Kevin. That's going to be a little bit of an issue for
Tough
Boaz.
one to beat.
Thing has protection from pretty much everything.
Only colors.
Only colors. And we're going to use the Springleaf Drum to make red mana to finish off the Liliana. Now Boaz has some options this turn. He can either just try and run the Jace out there, which doesn't seem particularly good. He's also got the Abrupt Decay still. Well, maybe it's better now since he has a second one to just try and dig for more things.
The thing about Jace here is if he brainstorms, it'll die on board. If he brainstorms. So,
or if he bounces. Even if he bounces,
yes,
the Signal Pest, it dies on board.
So if he wants it to live, that pretty much means a +2.
Yep. And he's going to Fate Seal himself.
It's called scrying.
Scry. Sure. He's going to use the Jace ability on himself.
Yeah. I would have much preferred if Jace actually had the word scry and Fate Seal on it.
Scry 1 or Fate Seal 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you know, scrying was a core set mechanic at the time.
It was. Fate Seal only really made an appearance in Future Sight.
Correct.
So
not exactly the
most evergreen of keywords.
I mean, and let's be honest, Jace probably shouldn't have had the Fate Seal part on it anyway, so no harm, no foul. And Jace is going down either way.
Yep. So Cranial Plating on an Etched Champion, pretty much the scariest result here for Bug's land still. Although he does still have the Abrupt Decay to be able to handle that Cranial Plating.
Yeah.
So it's not going to do too much damage.
I might have actually preferred for the Cranial Plating to go on the Pest.
Yeah.
if only because the signal pest would kill the Jace. And so Kevin missed out. I believe it's going to the face because they're counting it up.
Yep.
They know it's more than 5. That's for sure. So that's
it's
that's
8,
really
9.
dangerous
this is
for
9
Kevin.
damage.
Yeah.
And so Boaz will go to 10, I believe.
Yeah, that's very, very dangerous to leave a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Living life on the edge.
Yeah. Plays approximately one way. So I don't believe Boaz can undo Metalcraft. That would be impressive.
Yeah, that would be quite a ridiculous
now we're
thing to
fate
do.
sealing our opponent.
We're fate sealing our opponent here. Interesting.
Perhaps.
He's passing the turn. Oh, he took out the black mana so that he can't instant speed re-equip the cranial plating, I guess.
Also, yeah,
but he's probably killing the cranial plating itself this turn. Arcbound Ravager. That's an interesting one. Kevin does run the full 4 Arcbound Ravagers.
It's a really, really strong card.
Yeah.
Pro Tour champion Osablava Dawich once referred to as Arcbound Ravager as fairy godmother.
There's Arcbound Ravager there on the left side of the screen.
That's
for those of you that didn't play Magic in 2004.
Suckers.
So this Ravager is going to get Force of Willed, removing the other Jace that Kevin elected to not kill. So maybe that decision is coming back to bite him.
And also, Kevin has quite the, Boaz has quite the answer to Kevin's Etch Champion.
That's right, and here it is.
Chilling right on top of his library.
It's Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, he has a Mishra's Factor on top of his library as well.
Yeah. That's a pretty good answer to Etch Champion.
Wow. Because Mishra's Factory is lacking in the colorful department.
It is not very colorful. Thereby being one of the few answers that to Etch Champion in the format.
I think Boaz needs to brainstorm a couple times. He's out of cards, and Kevin is still happily holding some amount of cards. Can't exactly tell.
So he's going to bounce the Signal Pest, just to keep it off the board to be able to prevent a top-decked Cranial Plating or perhaps another Ravager.
I don't think that's a winning proposition for Boaz.
Signal Pest makes a reappearance here. And another Ravager. So yeah, this
if you're
champion.
Kevin, do you attack?
Do you attack? Yeah, absolutely. This champion.
Do you move the counters
onto the champion? Yeah. What answers does he have other than?
He has a potential Liliana.
He has a potential Liliana.
The
sure.
cards that we've seen. Abrupt Decay if we go too far past Metalcraft.
Right. I think that we'll probably make it a 4/4, maybe a 5/5.
I was thinking if it were 5/5, why not a 6/6?
Because he's at 6.
Yeah.
Sure.
6. He needs to sack. No, he needs to sack one more. No. I guess the Signal Pest would make it.
Yeah.
+1. Oops.
So we have a 5/5 Etch Champion. We also don't want to go below Metalcraft, so if he gets Liliana, that would drop
you
us
don't want
off
to. Definitely don't want
Metalcraft.
to get rid of Signal Pest. Like I could see some like pretty nice sequence of draws because it would definitely. Like if he draws Liliana there, actually, he just jaces the Signal Pest.
Important to note that Boaz does not have Pernicious Deed in his main deck.
It is not. He has Engineered Explosives.
He does. Yes. Engineered Explosives would take Kevin off of Metalcraft. Or no, it would not. I'm a liar, because that destroys non-land permanents, not just artifacts. So the Great Furnace would survive. There's Cranial Plating. That's probably going to spell the end.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5.
Only 5? Oh, they're each 5. One's a 6-5 and one's a 5-5.
Yeah, the ex-champion is getting chump blocked. I believe this should have been cast a little bit sooner.
Yep.
Staying still, not the best card from behind.
Right.
He gets to keep one of those.
He gets to keep one of the cards that he put back with Brainstorm. So you get that one. How good is that one?
That's another Brainstorm.
Ah. So we'll drop down to 1 life. Kevin's in a commanding lead here. I'm hard pressed to think of anything
So,
that Boaz can
Great
do.
of the Furnace reminds me of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, once upon a time, Wizards used to host a Magic trivia contest at every Pro Tour. So I was at one of these Pro Tours playing this trivia contest with my friend who was not on my team, but he was on at the next table. His name was Owen Davis. And the question was, write all the standard legal at the time, this was in Mirrodin block, standard legal artifacts that you can fetch with a Trinket Mage.
So we've got Kevin Green winning game 1 real quick, just so everyone's caught up.
No. Boaz did not miracle anything, either miracles or
nope.
otherwise.
Or have creeping corrosion or anything that could have changed any of the
nothing
the
crazy
outcome
like
there.
that. So yeah, and Owen listed all these cards. You got like Seated Synod, Ancient Den, all the artifact lands. Couldn't think of the red one.
Yeah.
So in like his haste to write it down, he wrote Great of the Furnace.
Great of the Furnace.
Yeah. So if you ever see Owen Davis for whatever reason in Phoenix, Arizona,
right,
you can let him know about Great of the Furnace, and
that's a nice one.
I used to have a signed Great of the Furnace. He did it was Great Furnace, but of the.
I remember when Chancellor of the Forge was first spoiled. It was in another language, and people thought it was Chancellor of the Furnace. So that would have been a nice one.
Yeah, nice.
That would have been a nice little half of a week to chide Owen.
Yeah,
that's a good one. So going to the sideboards here, we've seen Boaz's sideboard before.
We have,
but in a slightly different matchup. I think that we are going to see different cards this time around. He can bring in his part of his crop rotation package with the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale.
And we did see that in the last game.
I also expect that we will see both Ensnaring Bridge and Damnation.
Oh, my favorite podcast, the Ensnaring Bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Blast is
Dark
going to
Blast
be a
most
huge
certainly
game.
going to come in.
Damnation.
Yep.
That's it. What do you think about another copy of Liliana of the Veil?
He doesn't have too many answers to the Edge Champion.
Right.
And so he's always going to have Metalcraft.
I would imagine, yeah.
So yeah, Kevin's not going to sack off enough artifacts.
Let's just say if Kevin doesn't have Metalcraft,
he's probably losing that game.
He's probably
anyway.
losing. Yeah,
sure. But even if he got to a point where he's like, well, I could sacrifice all my artifacts to the Ravager to make him 10-10, but I'd be off of Metalcraft if he had a trick. I think he'd still play around it. So I don't think that that's not a poor decision to bring in the extra Liliana. For Kevin on the other side,
he's got the mirror covered with Smelt.
Yeah, I see that.
But I don't think that's going to be one. Perhaps a Pithing Needle.
Sure.
Might be brought in against
name
potential,
either of the Planeswalkers and have also
potential deeds.
Potential deeds have implications against Engineered Explosives and Mishra's Factory.
I like this sideboarding strategy. He has one of every artifact graveyard removal spell.
Nice.
He has one Tormod's Crypt, one Relic of Progenitus, and one Nile Spellbomb.
Excellent.
Variety is the spice of life.
That's right.
But I don't know if he wants Duress or if he just wants to keep his... One mistake you can make in sideboarding with Affinity is take out too many of your artifacts for non-artifact spells.
Right. I believe that the Duresses and things like that would come in for
like
thought casts against Storm and things like that.
Sure, or like it could come in for Galvanic Blast.
Sure.
In this matchup.
In this matchup, yeah.
That's something I could see. He has 2 Duress and a Thoughtseize. It also has 3 Oblivion Ring, but I don't see that one showing up. I think that's more of a show and tell card. So he has a very difficult time casting that. No white producing lands in his deck.
He's only got the 4 Mox Opals, of which he's running 4 Mox Opals.
Yeah, you play, when you have Oakbound Ravager in your deck, it makes a lot more sense.
And he's also running 3 Springleaf Drum.
Yeah, Mox Opal is pretty sweet.
Yes. Not so sweet when you have 2.
Right, the first one's really sweet.
Yeah, this first one's awesome. I really like Boaz's glasses.
They're pretty awesome.
Pretty insane. I was seeing some people on Twitter.
I've been hanging around Taylor Gunn too much. I like his haircut.
Sure. the variance in length. Yeah, I was hanging out around Boaz earlier, and I was reading some folks on Twitter. Apparently, he's a known local player that people are very excited to see on camera. So
awesome. Yeah, I always like that. I know when the Star City Open Series comes to like my hometowns, either Cincinnati or Phoenix, I'm always excited to see like the local people playing in basically the biggest tournament they've ever played in, get a shot at
the camera. Yep.
A shot, or just like doing well at the biggest tournament they played in.
Right. I want to mention, by the way, behind Boaz there is David Bauer. David Bauer, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to put on camera, but he is playing Rug Delver that has Niv Magus Elemental in it.
Flusterstorms?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Also Flusterstorms.
That's so awesome.
He's got at least 1 Venser Shaper Savant in the sideboard.
That's a little ambitious.
It's a little ambitious, but I liked his... it's not exactly Rug Delver.
It's a show and tell card.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So, he had a fun list.
Yeah. I wanted to see somebody play Niv Magus Elemental and Flusterstorm.
Yeah.
That sounds so awesome.
That's a good one.
It just kind of like semi-daze proofs all your cards. It makes all your spells like quote-unquote uncounterable.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to put Niv Magus Elemental into a Legacy deck, Rug Delver is where it has to be.
Of course. Or maybe even just like blue-red.
Or blue-red, sure.
I actually make it blue-red since the typical weakness of blue-red is that it has very bad creatures.
Yeah. And so you get to have a early 3/4 that gets to stand in front of Nimble Mongoose and the like.
Or, if you cast Flusterstorm, it's like
a million,
yeah,
sure.
8,000.
So Boaz leads with Underground Sea.
We got some Mox Opals, hopefully only 1. 2 Mulligans, 1 on each side, keep it honest.
So we have Metalcraft already.
We have Metalcraft, and we did not use our spare mana.
Sure. Probably didn't have much to use it on.
I would imagine that'd be the case.
Legacy Open players at the
could
end
have
of this round. If you are at
Thoughtcast,
or
an
better,
Arcbound Ravager,
the stage.
Master of Ethereum.
This is probably
Cranial
Thoughtcast.
Plating,
Yeah.
Thoughtcast. So it doesn't have a second land either.
Right.
Very fortunate for Kevin that he actually didn't get any of his permanents blown up.
And we found another land.
On land number 2.
There's Thoughtcast.
Ornithopter number 1.
Yep. Thoughtcast in various points during its Magic career has seen play in every format pretty much. From Standard to Modern to Legacy, Draft, Sealed.
I played it in Limited quite a bit. I was a big fan of the Mirrodin Block Limited Affinity deck.
Yep.
So Boaz passed on the opportunity to brainstorm.
Yeah, I noticed
his
that.
AJ Soccer would be proud.
Yeah, absolutely.
His hand is, to be fair, his hand is very good for the amount of mana it costs.
Yes.
Like, it's expensive, but still, like, excellent.
Yeah, he doesn't. I guess his thought process is, well, I'll use that brainstorm later when I need it.
Yeah,
but
when my hand sucks.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
For now, I've got this Liliana that's going to be able to do
got a
something.
Liliana into Maelstrom Pulse, and he just picked up a Jace.
Yes.
So
he's got his next couple turns fairly well set up. Doesn't necessarily need to have the brainstorm active.
I got another Thoughtcast from Kevin. cards. I think Kevin's in a pretty good spot actually here, even though Boaz's hand is very good. I actually think Kevin has.
If he's able to keep a threat on the board, and by a threat I mean something other than just an 0-1, you know, either a cranial plating or a creature, you know, of some size like Master of Ethereum. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have that many. He's got 2 Master Ethereum. I guess Etched Champion, it provides enough of a clock, although his opponent has a Mishra's Factory. The only things of real size.
That's
there
a
you
good
go.
one.
That's a decent one. There's Phyrexian Revoker from the most recent standard format before this one.
It's from Mirrodin Besieged.
Right? And it's
Pithing Needle on a stick.
It's
some
very
slight differences.
Right, slight difference between Pithing Needle and Phyrexian Revoker. There you go.
It
cannot name
what
lands.
Did it name?
Yeah, do we know what it named?
What it can't name is Mishra's Factory.
Right, and it also cannot name Verdant Catacombs, which goes to the bin here. It can, however, name it's named Liliana. I see. Liliana of the Veil. It can, however, name things like Llanowar Elves.
Yes.
Elvish Archdruid, mana abilities that
on non-land
permanents that Pithing Needle could not.
Rhode Island State's players, your pairings for the
Or would not
sixth
stop.
and final round of Swiss have been posted. Please take your seats.
Looks like we got a Maelstrom Pulse coming
to take out the Revoker. I'm pretty okay with that trade if I'm Kevin.
Right.
You've used 3 mana to deal with my 2 mana.
Good discard for Kevin. Alright, fantastic. Because he might actually want the fourth.
The fourth mana for Tezzeret.
Well, he's got it.
We had it all already, so. The Grixis artifact lands in play for Kevin over there. Seat of the Synod, Grate of the Furnace, and Vault of the Whispers.
My friend Owen would be proud.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure everyone else at home is real entertained by my blank of the blanks happening.
Yeah. Really cool card here would actually be Master of Ethereum.
Yep.
It would make the Signal Pest actually do something. But instead, we'll draw more cards.
Yep, with Thoughtcast.
Yeah, not my favorite thing to do when I'm affiniting.
No, drawing 6 extra cards. Not the best, but it's a nice way to recover from a mulligan as well as take full advantage against your control opponent.
We've got Arcbound Ravager.
And
coming
Boaz
to play,
elects
maybe.
to now Brainstorm
Yeah,
in response to the Arcbound Ravager.
So pretty good set of cards.
Yeah,
we have a Wasteland, a Life from the Loam, and an Abrupt Decay to match our Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's in Kevin's hand, but right now I'd be very happy to be in Boaz's seat, having just looked at the top 3 cards.
Yeah. We've got basically to pick off the rest of Kevin's threats, and then we got the long game locked up.
Yeah. With Life from the Loam,
Team Boaz.
Jace. Yeah.
And Jace actually helps us get to at that point. I'd actually.
So Ravager resolves, has a tiny little +1/+1 counter right on its face, if you can see it there.
Yeah. Okay, so I would actually go ahead and man, that's tough.
Play Jace here? Is that what you were thinking?
He's not playing Jace because he didn't draw it.
Oh, that's right.
I decided to wait on Jace.
So we're gonna Loam.
He's gonna Loam, and then
there's Life from the Loam. One of the other huge card advantage engines in Legacy.
Yeah. Problem is you have to spend more mana to convert those lands into something useful.
Life from the Loam saying draw 3 cards. Unfortunately, those 3 cards have to be lands you've already played. Each player is going to discard a card. Boaz, not really going to discard a card. You can
discard a third of a card.
A third of a card, yep. One of the best ways to take advantage of Life from the Loam is Liliana of the Veil. Life from the Loam, Liliana of the Veil. We got some more of those happening.
Yeah.
So Kevin's going to need to find some actual offense. This Ravager is doing an okay job with that.
It's much better at fighting removal as it is to generating offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kevin's sort of in a weird spot here, where he's probably going to make one of his creatures. He's probably going to have to sacrifice an artifact to the Ravager.
Right.
In order to try and kill this Liliana.
Yes.
Which is going to get Abrupt Decayed and then still probably kill the Liliana.
Yes.
Because these 0-1 Signal Pests will also be going at Liliana of the Veil. Is my hunch. But first...
Kevin Green is a champion of the etched variety.
That's right.
Kevin? Kevin, I would actually sack an artifact of some variety pre-combat.
Yeah? Cranial Plating.
Raggy.
So we're getting as many artifacts as we can in play. We can't really enchant any of our creatures.
They call it equip
as of yet
these days.
Sure. I heard an interesting.
The cool kids call it.
I heard an interesting rules interaction as Abrupt Decay takes out the Signal Pest.
Signal Pest.
In that, if you have Mycosynth Lattice in play, are you familiar with?
Oh, joy.
And you also have Bludgeon Brawl. Are you familiar with Bludgeon Brawl?
Yeah, you can equip stuff to each other.
You can equip artifacts, and if you equip now artifacts that are auras, you can move them from creature to creature, and they gain the abilities that are on the new creature.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he lives in Georgia, is really proud of the fact that he equipped a Gideon to a Jace using the same...
That's fantastic. He equipped a Gideon to a Jace. I like it. So, speaking of Jace, Jace is going to enter the battlefield and is attempting to bounce Arcbound Ravager.
Oh, this is a really well thought out play by Boaz.
By Boaz, yeah. There's a very thin margin here for Kevin because he's going to lose his he's going to sack it and put the counters on Edge Champion, which doesn't work as well as he thinks.
Yeah, I mean it's a 4/4.
Yep, for a second, sure is.
Yeah.
But now we've
got
good
heads up play because that
was nice.
Took some building up because he had to make a weird looking Abrupt Decay or Signal Pest play first.
But now he's got the power couple in play against Kevin Green's Hat and Opal.
All right.
The third Planeswalker.
Let's battle.
We've got some battle cruiser magic happening.
Yeah.
At least in the Legacy variety. There's Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas.
As much as it gets for Legacy.
As much as it gets for Legacy, except for the Prime, Nick Fit and Primeval Titan deck that we had earlier. This is Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas. It lets you impulse for artifacts, or it lets you turn artifacts into 5/5s, which is what I thought was going to happen, but it actually didn't.
Yeah, there's not much, like you can block indefinitely with the Mishra's Factory, and an ultimate in Legacy Affinity is often lethal on the spot.
And he's going to tick it up to 4, and with Boaz at 18, he needs to have 9 artifacts in play, and he currently has 6, and likely found another one in the top 5 cards of his library.
The problem with ticking it up is actually that same Mishra's Factory.
Yeah. That Mishra's Factory will be able to hold it down for a moment.
Oh man, you know what I hope happens this game? I hope Cranial Plating equips Cranial Plating.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be fantastic.
All right, brothers, you played very well, but I really hope Cranial Plating equips
Cranial Plating. Well, first we're going to put Life from the Loam back into Boaz's hand. Some cards went to the graveyard.
Including a Dark Blast.
Ah, nice. Dark Blast not terribly relevant right now, seeing as we've
Counterspell, I
gotten
believe.
rid of everything else.
The classiest of counterspells, the Ice Age counterspell.
Yep.
Looks like we'll be. I can't imagine anything but a Mishra's Factory attack, a Brainstorm, a +1 of Liliana.
And a recast of Life from the Loam. Now, when you activate Jace for the Brainstorm ability next time, are you replacing one of the draws?
Now you can put 2 back and then replace the following draw with. So you'll put Boaz will put 2 lands back.
Okay, I see.
And then on his next draw, since he doesn't want to actually draw those lands,
right,
he can dredge those lands with Life in the Loam or Dark Blast.
Nice. So he gets to put 2 of those lands on top.
It's actually a good play by Boaz too, in case he doesn't want to in case he wants to let the Tezzeret live, he can start waste locking Kevin. The fun Boaz, I think I would keep that Mox Diamond, discard another land. At some point, you're just going to have so many lands and you want the actual mana.
Right. Yeah,
and if you're waste locking your opponent, Mox Diamond is actually one of the few ways you have to gain.
To create mana?
Yeah. Boaz instead going to go with the play the fetch land so he can just shuffle the hard way. And there's no point in shuffling if he's going to dredge, so. He's also going to leave the Tezzeret in play, so if Kevin plays 3 artifacts,
then Boaz is just
Boaz
dead.
is dead, so. Not positive I recommend not attacking Tezzeret without actually killing a bunch of Kevin's permanents.
Sure.
Maybe he would have wastelanded and maybe...
And Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, have like another spell as well.
On Kevin's side, though, he's got to start doing something, right? Unless he's just hoping the Tezzeret goes all the way there.
Right, and it can. Very easily.
It absolutely can, but
he's got a very good plan against these
he's got 4 more artifacts to put into play.
I believe. Does Boaz have an Abrupt Decay in his hand?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he played the Abrupt Decay,
3.
so he does need 3 more.
But we've made our plans.
Right, we've made our Mox Opal a 5/5. We're going to equip Cranial Plating to Mox Opal.
I'm in.
Sure. So our play of equipping Cranial Plating to Cranial Plating may not happen.
Yeah, really upset about that.
Now, we don't know what this Mox Opal is attacking. Probably isn't going to matter.
I don't think Boaz cares. He just wants to... Kevin Green might just Galvanic Blast it.
If he left Galvanic Blast in, sure.
Right. Boom.
Yep.
Or
smelt.
Whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll kill it.
Yeah, smell will work.
Smelt you later.
He's playing around the possibility of bringing in or having engineered explosives in addition to the in addition to the Mishra's Factory, and can also get rid of Ensnaring Bridge. He may have seen this type of deck before and be planning for the inevitable artifact that locks him out of the game, other than Tezzeret, as we were mentioning.
Yeah.
Smelt, of course, the counterspell of choice, since Mental Misstep, or not the counterspell, the Shatter of choice, since Mental Misstep is not in the format.
Yeah, I think I'd go with a different one. Either Shattering Spree or Smash to Smithereens.
Sure.
Uh-oh, speak of
the devil.
Lockout
there
artifacts.
You go. I think that Vandal Blast is also an option. The new
destroy target artifact you don't control,
or all of the artifacts you don't control.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's much better than Smelt.
That is a sorcery, so he couldn't have done this mid-combat trick. Smash to Smithereens is also an instant. So that's the difference between it and Shattering Spree, is it's also a sorcery.
All right, Liliana.
So Kevin Green locating the very narrow instance in which Smelt is better than all of the options we just discussed.
Yeah.
Using all of his mana and using it at instant speed to take out the Mishra's Factory. He picked the right card.
I don't know if I like killing Liliana over Jace there.
I agree. I thought he was attacking Jace.
Unsummon a Mox Opal basically kills it.
Yeah.
And
Ensnaring
Kevin
Bridge.
Green is about to listen to some podcasts.
That's right. Creatures with power greater than the number of cards in your hand can't attack.
This was the...
It's very difficult to cross the bridge.
Yes. Oddly enough, I've played cards on both sides of the board.
Of the
in the
board
same
and
deck.
oh yeah,
Yeah, my Tezzeret deck relied on Ensnaring Bridge for defense,
sure.
and I'd often ultimate it.
Yeah, having Tezzeret and Ensnaring Bridge on opposite sides of the board is not a typical sight
Yeah.
under the lights here at Star City Games opens, but you know what? Whatever works.
I mentioned for the first time in recorded human history, last round, Daze was hardcast on a 6-mana spell.
Oh wow.
It was the previous round, but yeah.
Sure.
The Phyrexian
So now we've got
Revoker.
Revoker is likely naming Jace the Mind Sculptor. Almost
Reasonable
certainly.
expectation. One thing that Phyrexian Revoker can't name that's a huge deal in Legacy, Wasteland.
Is Wasteland, yes. Which is a
All
big problem.
Boom.
Slowly but surely
Down goes the
eating
Great
away
Furnace.
at Kevin's mana base.
Yeah, I would dredge Dark Blast.
Yeah,
Just
to be on the safe side. Ooh, both engineered explosives hit the bin.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's Academy Ruins in Boaz's deck. that he
There
would
is one
be-
Academy Ruins,
That'd be
yes.
very happy to find. Well, first he's got a Dark Blast, the Revoker, and then Brainstorm with Jace.
There's Dark Blast. The original Ravnica, uncommon. Another Liliana of the Veil.
And sacrifice your Mox Opal.
With,
sir.
yeah, sacrifice your Mox Opal with Liliana of the Veil. So now, he could make Cranial Plating a 5/5, equip the Cranial Plating to the 5/5, but it couldn't attack.
Yeah, rats.
Unfortunate.
Alright, so it looks like we could get more cranial platings. A Seed of the Synod.
A Signal Pest.
Looks like, oh, that's
That's a good one.
a good one. If we could get 2 sources of black mana,
Yep.
that could be pretty nice pickup.
It's going to be relatively difficult for Kevin to get 2 sources of black mana, though.
He's
seeing
only
as-
2 short.
He is only 2 short, but he's only got, I don't know, 6 left in the deck.
So Kevin Green plays the Scalding Tarn. Not sure why Scalding Tarn is in over, say, Great Furnace number 4,
Sure.
but there is 1 island and 1 mountain basic.
As well as a pair of Scalding Tarns.
Yes.
Boaz is going through his bin.
Gonna loam away.
He also has Spell Snare in hand, so he's going to be able to take care of any future Cranial Platings or Arcbound Ravagers out of
I
Kevin
wonder
Green.
what this card is. It's an island. I see. So that Scalding Tarn better fetch that mountain quick.
Yep. And
All right, so now
Boaz-
it's a race between Kevin Green's ability to draw artifacts and Boaz's Van Driel's ability to recur life from the loam and blow them up.
Yep, and it appears as if Kevin is going to lose that race because...
Unless Kevin draws a smelt,
Sure.
and then it's game on.
Checking the top of his library, he sees that a Great Furnace was there.
Great of the Furnace.
It was not that great of a furnace, so he decided to shuffle away. Great of the Furnace. Boaz is still at 17 against Affinity. This is not where you want to be when you're the Affinity player.
However, Boaz needs to win this game and
True.
another one.
True. With 11 minutes left, this is a very good point. I imagine they have an extension of some kind.
That is actually their timer. Their own.
Oh, that is
personal
their own
timer.
personal timer. So, yeah, Boaz is going to have to go ahead and figure out how to win. He does have Jace.
That's a start.
It's a good place to start.
What cards are we? It's 5.
It's just a measly old 5. Grizzly Salvage for artifacts.
Peer through depths.
Peer through depths for artifacts. He decides to scoop him up,
Okay.
not finding the answer. He's going to instead try and win game 3 in the quickest fashion possible.
That's actually a pretty good.
I like that decision, yeah, because Boaz can't really win a game in 10 minutes.
Not at the pace he's been playing.
Sure.
But Kevin can absolutely win a game in 12 seconds.
Yeah.
I might like if you're gonna decide when you want to concede. Actually, starting game 3 at about 8 minutes is probably where you want to be. I don't think Kevin Green was out of that game though.
I think it was getting there. I mean, he was up against 2 active planeswalkers. Jason started to tick up.
Yeah.
It was getting pretty rough, and
I'd much rather Fate Seal mode. Yeah, that's
I'd
for
much
sure.
rather start a new game in which I don't have to begin the next game with 3 thought casts as my first 3 relevant plays.
Right.
It's nice to have some clock on the table and then redraw some cards as opposed to starting out only drawing cards.
I mean, even then, Kevin had a nice, or Boaz had a nice play, a sequence of plays where he would abrupt decay.
Yep, abrupt decayed. He abrupt decayed a strange target.
Yes.
Which was the signal pest with 2 other creatures on the board.
Yeah. So he could bounce 1.
So he could bounce 1 and Liliana, the edge champion that he didn't have an answer to otherwise.
Yes.
Does being on the play or the draw change anything for either of these players? Most specifically, the discard spells out of Kevin's deck.
I don't think it does. I saw that a lot of Boaz's stuff. He plays very well from nothing.
Yeah.
If we say draws a card and it's probably has some effect on the game. Every once in a while you might be able to catch him with a Jace that he needs in hand, but for the most part, Boaz's deck is an excellent Liliana of the Veil deck, which just means it operates on no resources very effectively.
Yeah, and I don't think the Boaz changes anything either. I think that his discard spells didn't come in, they won't come in, and everything else doesn't really matter between the play or the draw. I mean, he saw Tezzeret. It's possible that he might want Spell Pierce, but it's unlikely.
I think it'd stick with Spell Snare.
Sure.
For the Arcbound Ravager
the Ravagers and the Platings, and just
Platings.
hope that the Tezzerets don't catch you off guard.
Right. I still like Force of Will against Affinity. I think it's one of the best cards.
Yep.
I even like Counterspell for the same reason. Affinity decks only have maybe a dozen cards or so that are even remotely...
Yeah, the rest of it is just cogs in a machine.
Yes.
Whereas the other
rest of
it's gas.
Yeah.
For the machine. Yeah. You only really care about the gas, otherwise the engine doesn't run. Have I gone far enough with this analogy here?
How many miles per gallon does an Affinity deck get?
12. We've already discussed this.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to lead with the Singleton. Oh no, we have 2 Darksteel Citadels.
Attention
My mistake.
players in the Legacy Open. That is time of the round. Active player finish your turn and move on to 5 additional turns.
Yeah, not Liliana of the Veil, so no, both players don't have to discard. We're going to discard the Academy Runes.
Once again, that is
and we have Tabernacle in hand.
Yeah. I actually don't like that discard. I would have discarded...
I would have discarded the Tabernacle.
Or not played the...
Draft challenge player is your 3rd and final round pair.
The reason he did it is so he could abrupt decay this Phyrexian Revoker, except for he better float. If he doesn't float.
Well, it's possible Kevin could have named another
card.
Like
also,
Planeswalker.
Boaz's play is definitely an excellent play because he drew.
He drew the Underground Sea.
Yeah.
Had it the whole time.
And now he can discard
Draft
his
challenge players,
Force
your
of
3rd
Will.
and final round pairings are now up. Please take your seats.
So we're just going to hide behind this Liliana for the whole game. Is the game plan?
I think Kevin, if he has a 2-mana spell, that'd be excellent for him, but he does not. He has to pay 2 mana for his thought cast. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah. He did not have the aggressive start that he needed.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that either of these players will finish on time. Unless he just throws the Jace out there, which is what he's going to do.
Yeah. Runner lands after
discarding the wrong land.
Yeah. Good. Hopefully, he spends all his time shuffling from fetch lands.
But no, here's Jace. Once again, the power couple in play.
Oh, he's going for the gold.
Yep, he's going for the win immediately. I see no reason why not. Kevin's not really presenting a threat. He doesn't have any haste creatures.
Tezzeret's kind of a haste creature.
Sure.
How sick would like Artifact Land, Mox Opal, Tezzeret be right here?
Be pretty good.
Be impressed. Alright, so the Tabernacle is finally discarded to Liliana of the Veil. Alright, Ornithopter.
Powerful play, sir.
At a meta.
Sure.
Is that a Tormod's Crypt? That is an ugly white-bordered artifact.
It is a Tormod's Crypt. Sticking out like a sore thumb for Kevin. But it does the job just the same.
It still exiles Boaz's entire graveyard.
Not that it's relevant right now.
Perfect.
Well,
Sure.
why not? He's got 2 Engineered Explosives and Jace available.
What if he's gonna explosive for 0 here?
I would imagine so. Even though it would take out his own Mox Diamond. I think that he's okay with that trade.
And I've hopped on this a little bit.
Attention,
Boaz should know he has 4 minutes.
Spent
a little bit too long on his Fate Seal decisions.
Once again, that's Eder Leva, Keith Hebert, and Gregory
Just
Willis.
on various like readjusting of cards and things like that. So I mean, he's in a very dominant position here.
Yeah, it's going to take him 7 turns from now to use Jace's ultimate, correct? And that's not even... That won't kill Kevin, because Kevin will still have a library. We're at 7. I'm sorry, it'll take... It's on 7,
counters?
yeah. So
It should be on 7
it'll go
counters.
9, 11, 13, ultimate.
Right, at 4 at minimum,
So
and
4
that's
minimum.
not counting any cards that Kevin could have in his hand.
Yeah. And so we're going to activate Engineered Explosives. This will take out Boaz's graveyard.
It should take out the
with,
explosives as
It
well.
will also take out Explosives and Mox Diamond.
And can you get him to put the explode? Yeah, there we go.
There you
We
go.
got it.
Ravager comes in for a little while until Liliana makes it leave.
Oh, there's a small little 7 dice. Okay.
Yep, little tiny dice. That was the die that was on. It's on the Ravager as well. A little difficult to see.
So we're up to 9. We're down to 4 on Liliana.
And Engineered Explosives on 2. Planning for future
Ravagers
and Platings.
Yeah.
Does not deal with Phyrexian Revoker particularly well.
Nah.
But
Kevin's
the
in a
other cards
really
on his
tough
board.
spot.
Yeah. It's a nice little grimace from Kevin.
Yeah, depending on how he wants to play, he can literally just hold cards in his hand and pass every turn and make Boaz.
Make Boaz kill him,
Yeah.
or take a draw.
Right. Depending on how fast Boaz plays.
Sure.
Like the this is a reasonable play. Like if Boaz is gonna take his sweet time
Sure.
on this.
Always make him kill you.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
stall.
nope.
Okay, yeah.
He's just gonna.
He can't
he sees
stall,
the
and he
writing on
sees
the wall.
Boaz is gonna have time to do it.
Yep, he had a
Boaz-
full minute to be able to do it,
Yeah.
and it would have looked a little bit fishy if Kevin's just sitting
Sitting there.
doing nothing, draw a card.
That
think,
would have
think,
been
think.
yes. That's not an acceptable thing to do.
Correct.
But to like draw his card and pass the turn and
Yeah.
make Boaz actually do it would be okay.
Would be fine, yeah.